You guys know I read the Book of Mormon on here a lot, right? And the Book of Mormon describes how Joseph's posterity, Joseph's family, traveled to the American continent by sea. They're saying it's around 588 BC. And the Book of Mormon describes how the stick of Joseph was reunited with the stick of Judah. So I'm just going to give a brief overview, rundown of what I have listed about Joseph. Okay, and I'm pulling this off the Bible, where I compiled it all together in my website, where science meets religion.blogspot.com. And this is what we know about Joseph. He was hated by the archers. He was hated by armed men. This was Genesis 49:23. But his dad, Israel, loved Joseph more than all of his children. That's Genesis 37:3. And he loved him because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors. So we think that to be rainbow. It was Rachel that bore Jacob 2 sons. Jacob was the woman that he loved. And his second or third, fourth baby mama, Rachel, bore Joseph and Benjamin. The tribe of Benjamin provided Israel with the first king, and Saul was later assimilated into the tribe of Judah. While no tribe bore the name of Joseph, 2 tribes, double portion, Joseph's sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, became the tribe names. Joseph was the governor of the land of Egypt. That was Genesis 42:6. He was called a dreamer. Acts 7:9. The patriarchs were moved with envy, and they sold Joseph into Egypt. But God was with him. Genesis 39:1, Joseph was brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, the officer of Pharaoh, the captain of the guard, an Egyptian, bought him of the hands of the Ishmaelites. Bought him. An officer bought him off the hands of the Ishmaelites, which had brought him down thither. Genesis 39:5 came to pass that from the time he made him an overseer in the house over all that he had, that the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. And the blessings of the Lord was upon all he had in the house and in the field. Genesis 47:14, Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan for the corn which they bought. And Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's house. Genesis 43:18, men were afraid because they brought money into Joseph's house. And they said, because of the money. Genesis 41:55, when all the land of Egypt was famished, the people cried out to Pharaoh for bread, and Pharaoh said unto all the Egyptians, go to Joseph. He'll handle it. Genesis 49:23, it was with bitterness that these archers and armed men attacked him, shot at him with hostility. That's the New Living Translation. The English Standard Version says they harassed him. The Berean Study says they harassed him severely. The King James says aimed at him in hostility. The Christian Standard says they shot at him, they hated him. Contemporary English says they were hostile towards him. The GNT's, my favorite Good News Translation, says they were refusing to show him mercy. The International Stand version says his enemies attacked him fiercely pursued him with their bows and arrows. The NET Net Bible says they pursued him viciously. New Heart English Bible says they shot at him, they opposed him. God's Words translation says they persecuted him, attacked him. God's Words translation. Okay. This is probably Genesis 50, or I'm not sure, something. Before the years of the famine came, 2 sons were born to Joseph. It's a new story. And these sons were born by Asenath, Asenath, and she was the daughter of Potiphar, the priest of On, O-N. And Joseph's firstborn was Manasseh, and said, "It is because God has made me forget all my trouble and all my father's house." The second son he named Ephraim. He said, "Because God has made me fruitful in the land of my suffering." That was Genesis actually 41, by the way. 41.50. Joseph got one portion above his brethren. Genesis 48:22. "Moreover, I've given thee one portion above thy brethren, which I took out of the hands of the Amorite with my sword and my bow." Judges 1:23. It says the house of Joseph sent to descry Bethel. Now, the name of the city before was Luz, L-U-Z. Descry Bethel. Joseph made a law over the land of Egypt that Pharaoh should have one part of the tithe there, the tax. It says Pharaoh renamed Joseph Zapnath Panich and gave him a wife, Asenath, the daughter of Potiphar, the priest of On. It was Reuben who threw Joseph into the pit and took his coat of many colors and sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver and dipped that colorful coat into goat's blood, and then went and lied to their dad. Genesis 47:17, Joseph traded bread for horses. Joshua 16:1, the children of Joseph fell by Jericho. Genesis 41:45, Pharaoh called Joseph's name Zapnath-Paneah. Joseph dreamed a dream of the constellation or something, 12 stars, and the 12 stars bowed down to Jacob bowed down to Jacob the sun and Rachel the moon. Genesis 37:9. Manasseh is the firstborn of Joseph, but the younger brother shall be greater. This is a reading from the Book of Mormon, Alma 46. Came to pass that when Mormon proclaimed these words, behold, the people came running with their armor girded about their loins, rending their garments in token or as a covenant that they would not forsake the Lord their God. Or, in other words, if they should transgress the commandments of God or fall into transgression and be ashamed to take upon them the name of Christ. the Lord should rend them even as they had rent their garments. Now, this was the covenant which they made, as they cast their garments at the feet of Moroni, saying, We covenant with our God that we shall be destroyed, even as our brethren in the land northward, if we shall fall into transgression. Yet he may cast us at the feet of our enemies, even as we have cast our garments at thy feet to be trodden under foot, if we shall fall into transgression. Moroni said to them, Behold, we are a remnant of the seed of Jacob. Yeah, we are a remnant of the seed of Joseph, whose coat was rent by his brethren into many pieces. Yeah, now behold, let us remember to keep the commandments of God, or our garments shall be rent by our brethren, and we shall be cast into prison, or be sold, or be slain. Yeah, let us preserve our liberty as a remnant of Joseph. Yeah, let us remember the words of Jacob before his death. For behold, he saw that a part of the remnant of the coat of Joseph was preserved and had not decayed. And he said, Even as this remnant of garment of my son has been preserved, so shall a remnant of thy seed of my son be preserved by the hand of God and be taken into himself, while the remainder of the seed of Joseph shall perish, even as the remnant of his garment.